Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. So glad you could join us and spend your time here talking sports with me and my main man, Al Prizzuti. Al, we've got so much to dissect and analyze with the start of the Bruins season. A pratfall against the Panthers in South Florida. Hopefully the Bruins got out of there in the nick of time of this brewing storm, Milton. And we want to send our best wishes at the top of the show to everyone down in Florida. Hope you are hunkered down or have evacuated and sought shelter, because this one is no joke. And, someone who's lived through 7 hurricanes myself, as resident of Texas, I know that this thing is really serious. So hopefully everyone and anyone here in Milton has relatives down there, hopefully that they're safe. So we want to extend our well wishes to them. Unfortunately, that trip to South Florida wasn't such a great sojourn for the Bruins, Al. We've got so much other stuff going on, the MLB playoffs. The Patriots taking a tough loss against the Miami Dolphins, of all teams. Milton Wildcats, again, taking a tough loss as well against the Wildcats of Weymouth. We'll leap into that. First of all, the Milton Wildcats ventured down to Weymouth to face an undefeated and very tough Wildcat team of Weymouth, and wound up falling behind 21-7 at the half. Al, Weymouth's lead grew to 28-7. Yeah. Then Patrick Collins rallied the Wildcats back in the final 7 minutes of the game, and then within the last seconds, the Wildcats scored to make it a one score game. Then they, with Patrick Collins finding Ryan Fulton for the touchdown that brought him within 1. Then they had a fumble recovery of an onside kick with 12 seconds left. Collins rallies the team again inside the Weymouth 10, and as time is expiring, a last gasp pass falls incomplete in the end zone that would have tied it. So hats off to the Wildcats for showing great resiliency and fighting back. And, of course, they'll be coming back to Brooks. Short week for them. They're going to play Wachusett on Thursday night at Brooks Field. So hopefully you can get out there on Thursday night, Brooks Field. It should be a beautiful evening for some football. It looked to be a beautiful day for football last Sunday at Foxborough. Al, it seemed all the stars and moons were aligned for the Patriots to get a victory against a decimated Miami Dolphins team that was without a lot of its key components, including Tua Tagovailoa, their quarterback. Say that fast 3 times. But unbelievably out. They wind up extracting defeat from the jaws of victory.
Well, I blame the coach, or whoever was the
play caller.
Well, because
they got away from the run.
Well, they got away from the run. I mean, the 2 runners were averaging 7 yards per carry. I mean, you had
Stevenson.
Stevenson went 33 or 34 on one.
Yeah.
The other kid went 23 on another.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't stay with the run. They would have had a better opportunity, because their offensive line is just
decimated.
They can't defend. I feel bad for Jacoby Brissett. I don't think he's a great quarterback by any stretch, but if he's just a good quarterback, he's a lousy quarterback with that offensive line, because you have no time. No time
Precisely.
At all.
Yeah.
Now, putting Drake May in, I think, is a mistake, because he's a kid. And I know you can look at the other kids that are playing very well, but they might have better offensive lines than the Patriots have.
That's a very good point you make, Al. Because when you look at the success that Jaden Daniels had, Caleb Williams, they are surrounded by a pretty veteran
team
and better teams, better weapons all around them. And
this is arguably
they're not necessarily having to carry the team. That is going to be the charge of Drake May now. He will have to carry this team.
Well, I mean,
and it's tough to carry a team when you're dragging a defensive end and the defensive tackle. You got one draped around your legs and another one around your shoulders.
Well, without Andrews, I mean, you saw what happened Sunday without Andrews. That center couldn't handle those guys coming. So I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, they had a lot of gaping holes on run protection, or gaping holes really in pass protection where they were getting a lot of free runners, guys taking free shots at, Jacoby Brissett. So Yeoman's, work by him, I suspect, Al, he would not have survived this game because of the punishment that he's already absorbed. I'm surprised that he's made it to this point.
Here's the issue, though. He's much
Durable.
bigger and durable
Yes.
than May, who's 22 years old and a rookie, who's got to be looking at a number of different things, schemes and whatnot, not have to worry about if I get hit. Brissett, at least, has shown that as many times as you get hit, he's a pretty durable, tough kid. He just doesn't have the ability to see or off-see when his guys are covered if somebody's in the open on the side.
I think, Al, what they've got to do is establish the run with Drake May, give them manageable downs and distances. You can't be in second and long, then third and long, because that defense is going to tee him up. Then you've got, I think, in my estimation, a short control passing game. Let him get the ball out of his hands quickly so that he's not absorbing the punishment. Do not let him sit in the pocket for any stretch of time. Do not try to go vertical.
All they have to do is do the
short
flare,
to intermediate
floor
passing
passes
game.
to the backs.
Tight ends,
let somebody
backs,
drop back. Yeah.
Screens. That's got to be the order of the day. And then hit them inside the gap with your counters, your draws, and whatnot. Do not expose them to punishment. I think that's got to be the guiding force, the guiding principle now.
You see what's happening.
Alex Van Pelt.
But you see what's happening with the Patriots. They got Hooper and they got what's his name, the other tight end. Yeah. Those guys have to stop. They don't go out on the pass routes as much because they have to block.
Right.
They have to be more blocking tight end. And therefore you're losing really what the tight end can do.
But I watched the Monday night game with Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and the way they have developed their kind of relationship. They use the tight end perfectly.
Yeah.
They let him attack space, and I've always been a proponent of if I'd be an offensive coordinator, my thing would be attacking space. Hit them where they're not. And if you can't get them out of the way, make them move. Move them around with formations, with motions, with, counters. Get the safeties out of the way so that your runner gets a free run into space.
But this team is hurting because even with Miami ran, that kid, I forget his name, Mostard or whatever it was.
Yeah, Rasheem Mostard.
He saw holes, and pretty big holes, incidentally.
Well,
that they opened up and they gained some critical yards. I mean, it's different to be 2nd and 2
right.
than it is to be 3rd and 7.
Well, the defense, which was at the very beginning of the season purported to be one of the strengths of this defense, this team has revealed itself to be, I think, a weak point too now over the course of the season.
They're on the field a lot.
They're on the field a lot, and they can't stop people. They've taken the big-time hits through trade of Matthew Judon, injury to Christian Barmore, and then now the deal with Jabril Peppers, his off-field issues court. And I think they're probably going to get rid of him.
Well, this is like Milan Lucic. The wife calls the cops. I mean, they find cocaine. They got all these issues going against the kid, and he's a captain. But the league is going to put pressure on the Patriots to say, see you later.
Right.
And whether it happens or not, even if she comes out and says, look, I made this, because that's what Lucic's girlfriend said.
The next day or two.
You know what? There's a couple of things, though, before we move on with football. The Jets let their coach go.
Yeah.
The big talk now is that Belichick is going to go.
Yes. Al, we're going to bring that up.
That would be interesting because he was a Jets coach for 23 minutes, I think.
Yes, he was before he came to the Patriots.
Yeah, then he left them. he was going to be their coach. Then he left and came and became the Patriots coach.
But Al, would you want to go to a situation where the quarterback was responsible for getting rid of the previous coach?
Yeah, I would, because two things. One, Belichick likes Rodgers. Two, Rodgers can
Respects
play for a guy like Belichick, who's got a much more football sense than people give him credit for. Now, I mean, he won everybody's Brady this, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, that'll be an interesting situation, because I think he would go for two reasons. One, he wants to be the winningest football coach before he says, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Right.
And two, he's going to play the Patriots twice. He'd play the Patriots twice, let me put it there, each time. So he comes in here, and you got all this hoopla. There's bad blood between Kraft and him. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Because of the Gerard Mayo, not that Gerard Mayo is the coach, because I think that
He was promised the position.
Before he even was told he wasn't going to be in the position.
Right.
This was a year before.
Yeah.
So I think there's bad blood there. So we'll see.
But here's the other thing too, Al. There could be other jobs come open.
Oh yeah, I mean there definitely will be. I think
you never know. The Eagles could come open. Jacksonville Jaguars could come open.
Oh, yeah.
The Cowboys could come open.
He'd definitely go to a team that is going to have a chance, I think. I don't think he'd take a team that, like the Patriots, that don't have the talent to compete.
Yeah, but
I think the Jets do.
And the other thing too is the other shoe to drop is Davante Adams. I thought about him after I saw Derek Carr go out against the Saints with this oblique, and you had Aaron Rodgers get hurt in that game in London that the Jets lost, and I'm sitting there going, wow, where does Davante Adams wind up now? Because he wanted to go either the Jets or the Saints.
Yeah.
Now, would he necessarily want to go to any of those places if both of their quarterbacks are hurt?
It's always a question for these guys, but then it comes down to contract, money, length of contract.
I think scheme too.
Scheme, yeah. Whether you can work. Do they have a good offensive line? Blah 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 blah. Right. But second to the Bees last night, I was so disappointed in a number of things. Montgomery did not play. Zaka, Pasternak, he played a little with Marchand toward the end. McAvoy, Lindholm, those guys didn't play a lot in preseason.
Right.
They looked like they hadn't even played in the first period.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you one thing, the Panthers
came flying out of the
Well,
gates.
not only but they did this every time they played the Bruins. First of all, they were a better forecheck, back check team. One, they hit. As big as the Bruins went and got,
right,
they still looked like they were getting pushed around last night.
Right. And that's the thing that was puzzling to me, because wasn't this team assembled so that they would not be pushed around by the likes of the Panthers?
What they did was they gave up a little speed for size, because I think that was a good thing. The Bruins needed size because they've been pushed around by the Panthers. They did against St. Louis in the 7th game against the Bees in the playoffs. And it's the first game, so I don't ever go, wow, what happened? But watching that first period, I was like,
it looked like another preseason game, right?
Were they even on the ice?
Yeah, it looked like another preseason game.
And Capasalo didn't make that many mistakes. I mean, Carlo made a mistake on one. McAvoy made a mistake on one. Lorai made a mistake on one. So there's 3 goals.
Well, he gave up a shorty that was in front of him, and it went right over his shoulder.
Yeah, well, the one...
I mean, it looked like he missed the pad.
One we didn't see that well until they showed it was a tip. Yeah. So Capasalo was looking at it, and it tipped over. That wasn't his fault either. That's going to happen. And then the Bees scored when the Panthers say they can't win, and they're up 6-2, and the Bees scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
So what? And let's be honest about it. Pasternak's goal was off of the defenseman. He shot the puck at the defenseman. The hit his skate and went right through the goalie's thing. Yeah. So I thought it was a bad game for the Bruins. I'm going to be interested to see. I know Swayman's going to play Thursday against Montreal.
Right.
But God forbid they lose to Montreal Thursday night and come out 0-2.
He's going to be rusty too. Well, he will.
Less so.
He hasn't seen shots.
Less so for a goalie than a forward, because you're not going up and down the ice as much as these other guys. You got to be in better shape. But, anyways, a couple of other things that we probably didn't mention last week, and we got another one this week.
Well, with the MLB playoffs, obviously, two things. You know, you've got the Mets and the Padres now within a game of facing each other.
Yeah.
But the world of baseball suffered a couple of losses.
Yeah, well, I was going to bring that up.
yeah.
I mean, first of all, two potential Hall of Famers, two definite
deserve
Hall
to
of
be.
Famers
Yeah.
passed away. One, Pete Rose. I mean, think about this. Today, I'm managing a baseball team. I can bet on anybody, and nobody can see who I'm betting on because I can do it online.
Right.
Pete Rose wasn't put into the Hall of Fame because he supposedly bet on his own team or against his own team when he was with Cincinnati. The guy had 4,200 and some odd hits.
Yeah.
He is
5,000 at the end of it.
one of the
Yeah.
greatest ball
hit
players
king.
that ever played.
And then you have Louis Tiant, the beloved Red Sox pitcher, who coincidentally faced Pete Rose in one of the great World Series.
Well, you see what Johnny Bench said this morning?
Yeah.
Johnny Bench said that in that series that we won in '75, Louis Tiant shut us out in the first game and pitched lights out in the fourth game. He's definitely a guy that got hurt
Yeah.
by not getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I met him a couple of times, and I'll tell you one funny story. He was a cigar smoker. I only smoked cigars when I played golf. I was playing with him
Yeah.
at Wollaston,
Yeah.
and he lived up close, right up
close
this
by.
street.
Yeah.
And he sold me a box of Cuban cigars, which turned out to be Dominicans.
Charge you Cuban prices?
Well, he didn't charge me that much, but they weren't Cubans. I knew that. But he was a pretty good golfer too. I mean,
Yeah.
not a great golfer.
Did you walk around thinking the feds were going to nab you for the contraband?
No, you know what I did? I took the labels off.
Well,
But
two
anyway.
losses in the world of baseball that were felt keenly because these were two players that Hall of Fame worthy, obviously for their merits on the field, and in one case, Pete Rose held out because of what he did off the field, and now it's the great irony that he was disciplined and banned for life for gambling. Now baseball is like welcomed and thrown its arms around gambling.
Everybody has.
As has everybody.
I said they should put a casino in. I live in the 55 and over. They should put one in our place. I mean, everybody's betting on everything. Whether you got a parking space, whether it's going to snow. Jesus.
But it's nuts. But Al, the playoffs though, who do you like in the MLB playoffs? There's some. I think be no better time to be citizens of Kansas City, because you got your Chiefs undefeated and you got the Royals coming back to.
Well, they won a game that they had to win, and I mean,
in
anytime
Yankee
you go and you play the first two games on the road, if you can win one of them, you've done what you have to do. I
Right.
mean, this is in any sport.
Right.
I think the Mets are going to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they're handling the Phillies like they're, so. I think the Yankees will beat Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think the Dodgers are the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're loaded.
Boy, were they loaded.
So, you know what?
But look
It's
at San
hard.
Diego.
I know.
San Diego's
I know.
had their numbered all season.
About San Diego has. I guess I get when my team isn't in there, I look and I say, oh, I'd like to see it. And then I go, I don't really care who wins. I just want to see good baseball when my team's not in there.
Yeah.
When my team in all sports
Well,
are
we've
in
seen
there.
some good baseball, Al.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
know. So it doesn't bother me if
Yeah.
if Kansas City beats New York or New York. I'm not one of these people who go, I hate the Yankees. I hate the.
Well,
I
Al,
hope they don't win.
we
but-
saw firsthand how good the Padres are and how good we know the Yankees, how good they are, obviously. But the team I thought that was shocking to me was the Royals, how good they were. I mean, what a lineup. What a lineup they have, and they have one of the best players in Bobby Witt Jr. And so it's been enjoyable to watch that, to get a chance to watch some of that. And Al, I tell you what's been enjoyable too has been watching college football this year. Some incredible games this past weekend. and down goes Alabama. Down goes Alabama to Vanderbilt.
I couldn't believe that
I couldn't
one.
believe that game.
I know.
I mean, that was an unbelievable game.
And I watched BC again.
Yeah,
And,
Al, that was a winnable game.
Well, they were there in the first half, and then they disappeared in the second half.
They crumbled, and I hate to say it, their quarterback, who's been the guy that's been, making this team go,
Yeah.
really was, I think, in my estimation, responsible for this loss because he played on tilt at the end. He had a bad pick, then he had a fumble that led to a scoop and a score, and then he threw another pick as they were trying to drive, and then takes a 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness.
I saw
for
that.
a cheap
The
shot.
more I watched it, I don't know if it was a 15-yard penalty. I mean,
They
I don't
usually
think it
are.
was. I understand where he was on it, but he's
Yeah.
also the guy who threw the pick
Yes.
at that, and he was also over there trying to make the play. And when it's close like that, should it be a 10-yard or 15 yards is a lot.
Yeah, well,
And
but it doesn't help matters.
I
You're
know
not
it
helping
doesn't,
matters.
but I mean, you see it all over the place, even in the NFL. Why did this guy get? I mean, late hits are an interesting thing too. There was a game where the guy went and kind of like slapped the quarterback's.
Oh,
the
the face
Patriots.
mask. Yeah.
They called him for roughing the passer.
Roughing the pass.
Come on.
That is, Al.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's football for crying out loud. Jesus.
So if you don't bleed, it's no.
Oh, I
no
can see
harm, no
going at a
foul.
guy passes the ball, and then you come into him and you slam him.
Yeah.
But when you're going by somebody and you just breeze by, it's like
Some of the things they're calling and not calling, like the touchdown that the Patriots had at the end of the game.
no, that was out.
That was a touchdown.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so how in the world can you explain to me why a toe drag is called a touchdown?
No. His toe was in. This is the
The
back
ball of
line.
his foot landed.
His foot's here and his heel here.
But-
the whole foot has to be
Okay,
in the line.
But toe drag. When you
He
do a toe
didn't.
drag, your foot is not
He
land.
didn't. He went like this and then down.
You're dragging your toe
He
across.
didn't drag his toe. He went
His
like this,
ball of his foot landed out.
and his foot like
The
this.
ball of his foot landed.
If he went like
Touchdown.
that, but he didn't.
Touchdown.
No, the whole foot.
Where does it say that all 10 toes have to land?
It does. That's what it says.
Al, all right.
And,
If
and
a
then I
guy
loved it
does
when,
the toe drag across,
when he
they
catches
usually
the
call
ball and they show Kraft shaking hands and the thing thinking it was a They shouldn't
Oh,
do that
God.
until the call is either one way or the other.
I think the Patriots were robbed in that instance.
No, I don't.
But here's where I think Jacoby Brissett could have made a better throw. So the kid, and then some people are laying blame at the feet of the kid Polk for jumping up and
Well, where he
doing
was-
a scissor kick and trying to straddle the back end of the side.
I thought at first when I first saw it, I said, "Oh my God!" And then when they showed it, I said, "He's out. He's out. He's out." So the rule is the foot has to be in there. So it is what the rule is. So I didn't argue with that. But they put themselves on. Watching the Patriots is very difficult for me, anyways.
Well, back to college football too, because there were some upsets in the SEC. It was a wild weekend of upheaval in the SEC, and it led to the rightful return to the top of the polls of my Texas Longhorns. Here we go, baby. The Longhorns are back, rightful spot number 1 as they get ready for the Red River rivalry. Say that fast 3 times. Against the Oklahoma Sooners. And Al, I'm waiting because we owe them a beat down. We owe them a beat down this year, and they're gonna catch one.
Now, where's Oklahoma?
Oklahoma?
Where are they in the rankings?
They're nowhere near Texas.
So that's why you think they're going to beat them.
I think
If it was close,
I always think they're
I'd
going to
take
beat
Oklahoma.
them. I always think they're going to. The last game I attended in that series at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Troy Aikman was the quarterback for the Sooners, and Barry Switzer played for the tie. He played for a tie. Instead of going for 2, he kicks the field goal to tie it at the end. What a chicken liver, you know.
Well, that might have been Gerard Mayo. You sure he
Lost all respect for Barry Switzer. And then Barry Switzer becomes the coach of my Cowboys, and, you know, unbelievable what he did. But I am so excited for this game coming up this weekend to see the Longhorns, put it on the Sooners.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. Well, like you say, I think the Longhorns are, they'll win.
Well, and their quarterback situation too is that Quinn Ewers, the guy who sat out for a couple of weeks, and then in comes Arch Manning, grandson of Archie Manning, the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning, and the son of Cooper Manning. He comes in and lights the world on fire. Unbelievable. But it was some pretty. Everyone now sees the line of succession in Austin at quarterback. Much the same way we could see it here in New England when the Patriots went out and drafted Jimmy Garoppolo. And then they followed up, Jacoby Brissett was in that class too, if you recall. Mm-hmm. And so now I think they had it lined up until that all fell apart when they had to trade Jimmy Garoppolo for whatever reason. But
I think the interesting thing for the game Sunday is to watch what May does under pressure.
Yeah.
Because most quarterbacks with good lines and a good team in front of them, you can't really tell how great they are because the team is good.
Yeah.
When you have a weak team and the guy is good, that's a little different.
Yeah.
That gives you more hope that this guy could lead you someplace. He could lead you.
Yeah.
And so I'll watch it for that reason. And I'm not the type of person, though, that if he doesn't do well, to me, that's almost a fait accompli with that team.
Yeah.
So anyways, I watched tennis last night, and Djokovic in Shanghai, Djokovic won.
Yeah.
And he won 6-1, and he won against.
Tiafoe had a bit of a meltdown there, did he?
Who?
Tiafoe, Francis Tiafoe?
What's fascinating about tennis is when you get guys like Tiafoe, Tsitsipas, Zverev. They're there, but sometimes you go, well, they lost. But when you get the guys like Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, they always win when they have to win.
They're clinics.
They always figure out what it is to
Yeah.
win. And that's the difference. And now I think Coco Gauff on the woman's side needs to figure that out because she's been kind of like this.
Up and down.
She got rid of Brad Gilbert, her coach. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyways, sports is what it is.
It is, pal, and it's an exciting time of the year, as I said. A lot of football. We didn't even discuss the Celtics because they're still in their preseason, getting ready to start their season too pretty soon. But as we wrap it up here, I want to thank everyone for spending their time here on Stepping Up to the Plate, and we look forward to being with you next time. And go Milton Wildcats against Wachusett Thursday, Brooks Field. All right, everybody, we'll see you then.